Joshua Church.
Hey everybody, so we're moving on into the last two 007 and 7 Days of James Bond entries. So now we're moving into the Daniel Craig era, which I'll talk to you guys about later fully. But for now, we're going to talk about Casino Royale. Now, this one really is one of my favorites, if not my all-time favorite. I don't know. It's like so many good Daniel Craig movies, but this one really does it for me. So the Bond films had languished. Pierce Brosnan brought it back. It was good again. And then you got to the end of Pierce Brosnan's run, and they started kind of falling off. And especially the last movie, which was just starting to get Roger Moore goofy with some of the stuff. We had the guy with the diamond face and the replacement face and all this other stuff. It was just really strange. Enjoyable movie. Still not one of those movies I hate, but it was definitely taking the Bond franchise into a weirder era, and so they needed a break. And I think they needed a refocus. And so they kind of changed what they were trying to do and decided to, bring Bond back to his roots, go closer to the novel, or the novels, or the novellas, to get Bond back to what he was meant to be. And they had never done Casino Royale. There had been a rights thing and a spoof movie back in the 60s. Of Casino Royale. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that, buddy. Dealing with my kid. We're on the walk. So they had done a spoof movie in the 60s. But it wasn't exactly, wasn't exactly beloved. A lot of people had forgotten about it, but it had kind of taken the name of Casino Royale. So they had never gotten a chance to actually do it. So they decided, you know what? Let's do Casino Royale. Let's do Bond's first outing as Bond, and we'll cast a younger actor. Now, at first, people were, he's a blonde guy, whatever. But, of course, Daniel Craig had done Layer Cake, he had done other stuff, and, was given the role. And I thought, absolutely killed it from the beginning. Did a really good job. But Casino Royale really works. And I think it's because of the intensity of his performance. I think it's, Eva Green being a really fun, kind of Bond girl / foe in a way, and love interest. It was a lot. You had Mads Mikkelsen, who did a great performance as his character. And you just had a really good narrative. It was like some of the biggest, most tense scenes were just him playing poker. And I just thought it brought Bond back to a place to where it felt gritty. And it also felt like he had layers. Like a parfait, like an onion. No, but similar to Shrek. He had layers. He had more to him. He had a lot of trauma and been through a lot, and there's reasons why he is the way he is, and all of that is kind of touched on, but it's given us a more nuanced Bond, who in Casino Royale wasn't quite the Bond we know yet, because he hadn't fully become himself. He didn't care about trying to be charming. He wasn't trying to waste his time with a lot of stuff. He was just like, no, get the mission done. And that kind of bit him in the butt a bit in places, but you can see where they're building him. But I thought Casino Royale, start to finish, is one of the best Bond adventures, period. Definitely gets high up on my vote. But if I was getting somebody to watch the Craig era Bond, it would absolutely be that movie. In fact, if somebody was trying to watch Bond, it's probably the first one I show them anyway. Which is saying something. To be a guy who was blonde that nobody expected to come in and play the character and kill it in his first go around. It's tough. So yeah. So I'm gonna go with that one as my next. Casino Royale. Great performances, great direction, great music, great action sequences, great non-action sequences, character moments, cast, like just everything's great about that movie. I got to give it absolutely its props as being a modern day Bond classic. But yeah, so we're cruising on to the last one, guys, and then I'm going to give you a full Daniel Craig retrospective, talking just about him as Bond, as being one of my favorites, if not my favorite Bond of all time. So on to the last video on our 007 7 Days of James Bond. So until then, stay shaken, stay stirred, and stay listening to the Movie Dogs Quick Bites. I'll see you soon.
Hey, like and subscribe. Be sure to check out more of the content on the Movie Dogs channel. All the reviews and cool remarks and cool guests like me, Josh Church, the owner of River Monster Comics. We are in Dunnellon, Florida, so if you're ever in the area, come by and check out the shop. Get some cool nerd stuff, comics, pops, toys, whatever. And swing by and just have some cool conversations about movies and all things pop culture. We appreciate you. See you soon.